Boys and girls, moms and dads, welcome to Pin and Pin, the Volleyball Podcast. My name is Ryan Tolman. I'm your host. To my immediate right, Danger Will Robinson. And boy, we have a treat for you today. We've got a new producer, Chris Maglanog. We'll introduce him here in a second. Let's get this show rolling. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for the clap.
You got it.
That's a clap.
You got it.
That's a clap via our new producer of the show. Like I mentioned, Chris Maglanog. Noah Cotterman, busy guy.
Busy guy.
Didn't want to be our producer anymore. I don't know. We miss him. But we got ourselves a ringer back here. Former teacher of technology, something. What was it?
Yeah,
Video production.
I was teaching video broadcasting and production.
Yeah, so
What high school was that at?
Horizon Honors.
Okay.
we have upped our game. You may recognize Chris's voice. I know you can't see him. You may recognize
What
his
episode
voice
was
from,
that?
I believe, you ready? I think
right,
it was
fact
episode
check.
6. He was our guest. So from guest to show producer, Chris was on talking about his story of adversity and how he has overcome some pretty incredible trials in his life to be the great coach, dad, father, husband,
6.
all that he is. Yeah, I said 6. I nailed it.
6.1.
Yeah, because Evan Johnson was the 6.2. Both of them with some pretty cool stories. So if you haven't listened to episode 6, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's also our most listened to episode. So Chris, you left quite the
Great.
mark. Yeah. No, you killed it. So you left quite the mark back in the day. We're excited to have you now as part of the show and helping us produce some good volleyball content for all you fans out there. It's been a while since we've had the time to do this podcasting. When it's a hobby, finding time to do the hobby's hard. We got busy lives.
We do.
Yeah, that's the part that seems to be the hardest.
And it's actually the busiest right now. But
Yeah.
we're like, we're going to do it.
We're just going to go for it.
We're going to go for it right now.
We're all starting to boys volleyball, high school volleyball seasons. We're still all coaching club. We got a lot going on, but we enjoy doing this. Until someone's going to come swooping in and pay us full time to be here and put out volleyball content, we may as well just keep.
Joe Rogan, help us.
Yeah, shout out you podcasters out there. Throw some money our way, right? Okay, well, so let's get Chris going here a little bit from some of our traditions. The first one is now Chris's trivia of the week
Or
of the show.
The show.
Since we don't do it every week. Chris's trivia of the show used to be Noah's. So Chris, push the tone B button on your thing there.
Tone B here.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
That's
There it
very
is.
game showy, right?
Yeah.
That's why we chose that.
Yeah, so now does he have it pulled up over there?
I mean, I can pull one up.
He does not have
the previous
I
Just
don't
one.
have one, but I
think I
do
can
have a
send this to
question
him.
if we are going with the topic we've previously discussed about rules and stuff.
Okay.
All right, well it's been a long time. If you try to listen like chronologically to us since we produced the show. But if you're just now finding us and you're like, oh wow, episode 18, you're probably not too far away from the trivia from episode 17. Luckily for people listening, timelines don't matter to them.
Nope.
That's
That's why binge watching is great.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. People can binge listen or
Binge-
watch
yeah,
on YouTube.
you can watch.
So, episode 17 trivia question from when Noah was producer now. So, Will, what is that? What was that question?
What player has the most National Player of the Year awards for women's NCAA volleyball? And I think if we're going by the AVCA NCAA,
Misty May.
well, there's a lot of twofers.
Logan Tom.
There's a lot of twofers. You see that?
Tara
So you got
Cross.
Tara Cross.
Lots
You
of
got
twofers.
Misty May. You got Logan Tom.
Noah had the answer. And now
And we don't have Noah.
I know. Catherine Plummer.
And
Did anybody get 3?
No one got 3.
So
So I
there's
think it's 3 correct answers.
3 ties.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Hey, some lady out there, I call her lady, some girl out there, your goal is someday to win 3 and become the first ever
Very hard to do. Yeah.
third 3-time Division I Player of the Year. All right, Chris.
So what's the new question?
You got a new
Sweet.
trivia question?
So, this is regarding the rules of volleyball and like when something happens. So
spoken like a former referee.
Yeah, question, you guys.
Is this like when a rule change occurred?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
you have
do
to
it.
guess the year.
Okay.
All right.
2003.
2 years. Or 2 answers here for 2 different questions.
Oh, geez.
Question number 1: when did the libero player get introduced? A, internationally, and B, in the NCAA.
We've either had this question before or discussed it at great lengths, I think. Do you remember this question from a previous episode?
Not the NCAA question. I think it was the international question.
The international one's got to be like the 90s.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, but
98.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a 2-year difference because I doubt the rules committees can like do it real quick. So I'm going to say it's like 98, 2000.
Sweet. And then do I just say the answer?
Yeah, do we
okay.
or do we
normally hook it and leave a cliffhanger. Are we going to cliffhanger these people?
Well, I mean,
Chris,
you can easily Google it. It's like,
is it easily Googleable?
yeah, because I haven't Googled it.
All of them are easily. I mean, most of them should be easily Googleable.
All right, but
Yeah,
for
we didn't
the
cheat.
sake of for the
We
sake
didn't
of
cheat.
I
today.
think we start giving the answer.
Yeah,
Let's just do it.
for the
Let's
sake
do
of
it.
today.
All right, what is the answer?
Internationally, the libero player was introduced in 1998,
Let's go.
Bro.
and the NCAA was introduced in 2002.
4 years.
Wow. Took him 4 years?
Did you just make us put like an explicit language on our podcast there?
That's going to be his
We're gonna
fault.
need to
Yeah.
like make a little bleepy.
Sweet.
Sweet.
I just need to get a list of words that.
We don't have an FCC kind of thing.
We got no idea. All right, so the libero or the libero, if you're North American,
Or bro, if you're in the USA gym.
nobody
I'm
says that.
telling you, dude.
They call him the bro.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, I don't like that. All right, what are we talking about today, Will?
Rules.
Yeah,
Just rules.
just rules.
I would just say the officiating side and how it affects everyone
Yeah,
and how to react
yeah. We're
and respond.
the impetus to our conversation was the NCAA just came out, what, day or two ago.
Wednesday, right?
So a couple of days ago came out and
Right.
changed the double contact rule for women in the NCAA.
Correct. I think it's
And
great. My
do we
opinion
have-
is I love it.
Do we have that
The
rule?
verbiage?
Chris,
Yeah,
can
Chris.
you pull up the exact verbiage of the new rule? So double contact for you non-volley nerds,
Which would be weird if you're here, but
right?
glad you're here.
When you play a volleyball, in theory, you're not supposed to touch it twice simultaneously. Consecutively. I think is the word I'm looking for. Quickly, there are exceptions to the rule. The first contact over the net can be doubled. If
Any
it's-
first contact can be done.
yeah, if it's
Any
a,
first contact.
but if it's like two, like off my platform and then in the air and then off my forehead,
Yep.
that's
That's not
not
one
now.
motion.
That's it's got to be one motion to get the double contact, and then the second and third contact is supposed to come out clean.
Clean enough.
Yeah, and
Depending on genders
That's
totally
the hard-
determines
right.
that as well.
that's the hard part with the rule, and I think that's why the NCAA finally just decided to bite the bullet. The men's collegiate game for a long time, whether it's in the rules or not, has basically just
Yeah.
done away with double calls.
Correct. The only double contact you will see is third contact.
And
And I'm okay with that.
I
Over the
totally
net, I'm
agree.
totally okay
Yes,
with that.
for me, the double contact rule has always boiled down to advantage, and
I
I wish that this was the way the rule was stated, because
So what if you double contact on the second to a hitter over the net? Does that have to automatically be called? Like not on like let's
Well,
say
if
you're
you
10-foot line set gap.
I feel like if you
You miss.
score off of it, maybe then you are really
Oh
getting.
man, it's some gray area.
I know. Do you remember the referee we met in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, we had dinner with him.
Right. I don't remember his
Joe.
name.
Joe.
Yeah,
Joe.
Okay.
He does a lot of UCI.
Is he
matches.
still reffing matches?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Great guy. We were sitting at Squatters.
Squatters, classic Salt
downtown
Lake City place.
Salt Lake. Yeah, we're sitting there, and it's a crowded restaurant. We were getting ready for Triple Crown. And walked a couple of referees. I don't even know.
I think we had him that day, so we just told him to come over or something like that.
No. Like there was crowded restaurant. There really wasn't anywhere to sit, so we're just like, hey, you guys want to join us?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they sat down and we just started kind of chit chatting and had some great conversations about refereeing. And the double contact came up, and Joe said, I remember him talking about the fact that he doesn't call it hardly ever. He's like, hey, good luck hitting that crap, right?
Yep.
Like that ball's coming out, spinning like a top. It's much harder to contact on the third one. So he very rarely called it.
That was back in the day.
But that was
Brooks 17's year?
17 or 18, 2017 or 2018. So it's been a minute. But I always agreed with him on that. Like that makes sense to me in just the grand scheme of volleyball. Now I feel like the NCAA's caught up. Chris, did you find that verbiage for us?
Well, I found the article that the NCAA just put out.
Okay.
The NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel approved allowing women's volleyball players to contact the ball more than once with any part of the body in a single attempt on a team's second contact when the ball is played to a teammate. However, if the ball is played over the net in this type of scenario, it would be ruled a fault, and the team would lose the point.
Okay, so that goes back to Will's question.
I guess it kind of goes back, yeah.
If it's an accidental over, are they calling that?
Well, it's
all interpretation.
It is a judgment call, so it just depends on...
The good news is there's less and less judgment being made in this particular...
I think in general, if you can eliminate all judgment calls from a referee, it would be really nice.
You just can't, but...
volleyball, I feel like of all the sports...
Tennis.
It can get pretty close to...
Tennis, I think, is super
tennis
black
is
and
like,
white.
what, in and out?
Correct.
So there's not a lot you're looking at, but volleyball is pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean,
our girls are losing their mind over this rule.
Our
18s, dude, they hate it. They're like, no one's going to train setters anymore.
Okay.
This is the worst for this sport. And then I'm just like, my rebuttal comes from Kevin Barnett. And, like, I'll never forget this. He's just like, no quarterback's trying to throw ducks.
Right.
Like, no quarterback's not trying to achieve a perfect spiral.
Right. And same thing with setting. You want that ball to you
still want it to be beautiful.
Yeah. You don't want it to spin. You want it to just melt in the zone. Let the hitter go get it. I think what it's going to do is allow for more athletic plays, allow girls to really expand sort of what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
You see them use your platform a lot more just because they're afraid of it. The other thing is, and I've already seen some videos on social media. The other thing is the libero position. They're now going to be able to use their hands a lot more because there's always fear of the double, coming out of the libero. A lot of referees will call it more out of a libero's hands than they will out of a setter's hands, a non-setter or whatever. So, what judgment calls are left in volleyball?
There's the catch and throw.
Okay, which we need to fix that rule.
Out of rotation.
The lift.
It's technically judgmental.
Catch and throw, lift, all that's the same. Out of rotation is in theory judgmental.
Yeah. Especially if you have a guy in Chicago calling it 3 times in a row.
Or a guy in Fort Lauderdale calling it.
Because Sage's half of her foot was off the court. Not even, maybe a third.
So we were watching film the other day at Perry with my volleyball team, and Fred Mann, my assistant coach, the great Fred Mann, has stepped away from
Goatish
head coaching. He's now my assistant, which it's so funny if you'd look. He's not on the wall anywhere because But when I coached against him at Desert Vista, bitter rivals, and now we're on the same sideline. It's awesome to have him as my assistant. But he's like, "Hey, pull up the men's." He was watching it just randomly the other day. It was the Team USA men versus Brazil in Tokyo, in the most recent Olympics.
So it's 21, right?
Something like that. Whatever.
21.
And so I pulled it up, and we're watching it, and I'll tell you, like 4 or 5 times, Brazil was in row 6. And so they're right side, back row, and he's pushed all the way over into zone 5. So he's got to get all the way across the court to hit the D ball. And dude,
gets hit almost.
He almost overlapped the middle back and the libero. He overlapped. all the way over on the top spin. You know, this ball's to the ceiling, and he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the out of rotation thing is a joke, in my opinion.
I think the only time it should be called is if it's the wrong freaking server.
Yeah. Well,
okay, you messed up.
The hard part again is, and back to what your girls were saying. Well, they're never going to train set anymore. If you don't have the rules in place, you're never really going to train rotations, and then it becomes sort of this free for all. But the tiny little overlaps and the guy leaving early, that stuff. Unless it's blatant and it has a huge advantage, I don't know. They never call it at those international levels.
Chris, were you and I watching this? No, I don't know. I think it was at home, and it was Noah, Kevin, Andrew, and I, and we were watching UCI versus UCLA, and front row was in X rotation, back row was in Y rotation, right? Like, and it didn't match up, and this down ref was on it. That makes sense. That's an instance that makes sense.
Well,
like like half the team is
advantage. I think it always goes back to an advantage. You know, like if you're constantly putting your libero in the middle of the court to pass a ball, that's
you better be in rotation.
It's an advantage.
Yeah,
because now you have your best passer, in theory, in the middle of the court, right?
Yeah.
I think we should eliminate all judgment calls. Okay, so lift, throw, catch, chuck, whatever. Eliminate the judgment. You know, you gained an advantage with that play.
Ooh, over. You're never going to get rid of the over judgment call. Whether it's back row block,
or whatever.
Vertical plane, that one's a...
I don't understand how anybody misses that.
It was missed in a second SoCal Cup. Yeah, so January SoCal Cup they missed it. But big time in a gold match.
A lot of that stuff for me, anyways, is the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. It's like the libero. We keep going back to that one. I don't know if I like to say libero or libero.
You're going back and forth, man.
Whatever. So the libero jump and hit from the back row. You're not allowed to contact the ball above the tape. Well, you get some of these 5'3" girls back there that are just smoking a ball. The spirit of the law is that that's not an attacker, right? So in theory, any overhead attack from the libero position should be illegal if they leave the ground.
Automatically just leave the ground.
Call it.
Thoughts?
It's a good one.
See, I mean, that's your thoughts.
Because again, if the rule, it's like, okay, we're going to make this rule the way it is so that it can be better for the game. But there are some people out there that, oh, well, the letter of the law says I could do this,
right?
And then they take advantage of it.
Always bending the rules to their advantage, which is part of the game. It's part of every sport. But what is the name of the committee that just made this rule, Chris?
So this is
rules
the
committee.
Playing Rules Oversight Panel.
Which is funny.
I want to get on that. How do I get on that?
If you look up that committee, there isn't a single volleyball person on that.
What?
Isn't that fascinating?
No, it's ridiculous.
You can fact check me, but when I did my research, that's what I found. It's it is a person appointed from each of the Division I conferences. So you got like SEC, ACC, no longer Pac-12.
Sure.
But and none of them are volleyball people. Chris,
they had to have brought in volleyball
I don't have, I have the names pulled up, but I don't have their pictures.
They had to have had a consultant.
I hope. I know most of the Division I contacts that we have, they're okay with it.
I haven't heard anybody's upset.
No, yeah, you shouldn't be.
It eliminates, and so let's segue. You ready for this?
Oh, here's the segue. You ready, Chris?
Yep.
We're segging.
It eliminates a lot of complaints that happen from players,
parents,
coaches, and parents. The one and the last one is for me is the one that I wish that we could completely eliminate is the parental complaining about calls, and the biggest reason why is they are wrong most of the time. You know, you can't. How many times have you heard a parent call for a double on a first contact?
And then at a travel tournament, hardly ever. 4A volleyball in Arizona.
No, even at those travel tournaments, you still get.
I don't think at an 18s tournament it happens, right? Like at that
doesn't happen when you're 18s, but definitely
14s.
If you're
15s.
walking around like a 13s, 14s court, Parents
got
are
that
yelling
dad with some liquid
doubles.
courage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
He knows everything.
everybody's yelling. No, even at the 18s courts, man, they're yelling doubles all the time. They're constantly yelling for a lift. Lift has been completely removed from the rule book.
It's not even verbiage.
That verbiage is gone.
Yeah.
So they're still yelling for a lift, and it's just the parents yelling at the referees is.
But what if a parent is on the bench and gets a card in Dallas? That's different?
That's an assistant coach.
That's assistant coach. Assistant coach.
Assistant coach got an assistant coach.
Different hat. Different hat.
Not the setter's dad. Okay, leave me alone. All right, that referee deserved.
Shout out to Justine to getting her red though.
Okay, all right. We'll get to all those
I
in a
just
minute.
want to make sure we're thinking about it.
The other part about the parents, back to them with the referees, is one of my favorite things that I see is when we're yelling about in and out, like the ball. Your mom,
they lose it.
Like, Mom, you're sitting 80 feet away, and you're yelling that it was in.
And your eyes are relaxed. They're not like you're just
80 feet away.
And we got a young person's eyes maybe paying attention. I think that's a really important part.
Close
But
enough.
Most of the time paying attention. We had a really good ref on day 2. Remember that number 7 girl from...
Oh, yeah.
Dude, she was locked in. Locked in.
The Will Robinson of female
More.
18s.
Way more.
Wow,
Way
okay.
more.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's just paying attention for sure. But the one that, and bless her soul, because she's my favorite human being on the planet. The one that Katie gets
Oh, yeah. Your mom, too.
so worked up about is the foot fault, and she will swear
100
to
feet
her
away.
grave, sitting 40 rows back or whatever it is. She'll yell it from another state, watching the boys play on a live stream in California.
Pixelated live stream.
Yeah, she's like, that was a foot fault. I'm like, babe, you can't see it from that far away. But they get super worked up about stuff like that, and it doesn't necessarily. I mean, it's part of the game. I get that, but at some point, it'd be really nice if we could everybody could sort of just take a step back, and that's coming from a coach who sometimes doesn't know when to take a step back.
How many cards do you think is acceptable as a coach? Like, because if you're Greg Popovich,
in what
right
time
now
frame?
in his career,
what
dude does not care.
In what time and how long? Like, in
No,
a game?
yeah, in a season.
In a
So, like, in a
season?
okay, because it's not all the same, right? Like club season versus high school season. Those are different timelines. In a club boys season, right? So you go, for us, it's August, January, break, come back.
I think that there's an unlimited amount of yellow cards that are acceptable for you to get until you cross
Yellow.
into giving away
A point.
points for your team. The yellow card, and this is the referee that gave me one in Dallas last weekend. I went up to her afterwards. I'm like, "Hey, why did I get that card?" She goes, "Well, you were talking to me," and I said, "Well, I had stopped talking to you,
And I was
talking to my player." She goes, "Well, I could still hear you."
Then turn your ears off.
And I said, well, so what did I say? She goes, "I just didn't like what you said." She won't even tell me what I said. Anyway, she then finally looked at me. She goes, "It's just a yellow card. It's a warning."
Yeah,
like,
she's right.
Move on. I'm like, okay, makes sense. So if that's the case, then it shouldn't be an unlimited amount of yellow cards are acceptable
Situational.
until you get kicked out. Chris, you're a good.
Here's what
Chris gets a lot of yellow cards.
Chris
but
would
here's
be in
my-
trouble if I wasn't sitting on the 10-foot.
Right. So here's my opinion on officiating and giving out yellow cards and red cards and whatever. I think if you're going to be on the stand, there's got to be some sort of art of officiating. What I mean by that is, okay, what's the situation of the game? Is it high tension or is it low tension? You know, if you're going to interject and make a call, like, hey, I'm going to call a double on this play, right? And it's like a little borderline, like, you better accept it. Like, you better know that you might get some backlash for it, right? And you got to be okay with that. You can't just make a call and all of a sudden, oh, nope, I'm the guy you should be listening to. Don't talk to me. Here's your yellow card.
I agree 100% with what he said. It's a sensitivity issue, right? It's referees who are sensitive to their calls being judged, and so then they take it personal. But you're right. The intensity level of a match is, I
Or
think,
does the match matter?
They all matter in theory, right? But like in a red zone situation, scores 22-22. You know, and you're already down 1-0, and you have to have it, and they make some weird call. Of course, we're going to react, right? I mean, so
and I feel like that's what people are missing. I feel like in officiating training, I think is the art of it.
I think the most important part of a good official is command. I don't care how you command. You need to command. Like
command and communicate. I think they need to communicate better.
Were you on that court in when our 17 boys team was playing? I don't even know. They were in the back. It was day 2. Were you on that court where I had to go to the tournament desk and I was like, "Hey, can you just send over some people to evaluate this guy? He has no command of the court. Like it's not good."
I remember that.
Chris was there.
I was there.
Yeah,
Probably
do you remember what I'm talking? Like that was a problem in our coach's eyes. Like this guy, he's not even making calls. He has no command of the court. Everyone's losing their mind on both sides. We have an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's part of the referee's job is to move that match along.
But you get a kid like that, like who was on the stand that day, that they needed refs, right? So you might get thrown into a situation that
you're in over your head.
Desperate.
Yeah,
and that's part of the conversation is that people are. I mean, we hear it all the time from these tournament directors and stuff. We don't have referees, right? People are tired of being yelled at and berated up on the stand, so they're like, "Well, I'd rather go do something else than constantly have my integrity questioned and all that other stuff." I mean, it makes sense.
It does.
Poor guys.
It's a double-edged sword.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Because in theory, referees make the game official, right? So that's why we have these tournaments.
Put that on a T-shirt.
I know.
Wow.
Right?
Jeez.
So looking at it from the referee side,
mark.
I know.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
referees make the game official,
Yeah.
or else it would just be a scrimmage.
You know what I want to change in the game? It's something I complain about every year. The libero tracker sheet. Why the heck do we have that thing?
Yeah, it just gets thrown away.
You know what I mean? I know what you and I are thinking right now, but
We're on the same page.
I just think it's the dumbest half sheet of paper in probably all of sports because I've seen every sport, right? I think it's the dumbest thing.
The scorekeeping in general in volleyball.
I hate it. It is imprinted in my brain when Karch Cry lost his mind at the score. I think this was at the Olympic Games or qualifying event. And he's like, "We are the only sport where you rely on a score sheet to determine what's going on." And he's just losing it.
Oh, wow.
And he's not wrong. It's such like it's weighted at such a ridiculous level.
You go to an NBA game. There's an official
There's a book.
scorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a book.
Oh, ball goes through the hoop. Okay, 2 points for you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Easy.
But they track. I mean, they got to track
Fouls and
in and out.
Well, in and out,
subs and fouls and who's in the game and ball and all that stuff. But I think it's way too.
How does
way too
club
complicated.
basketball track?
With a flip chart?
That's it.
Probably
There's like, if you are knowledgeable in AAU basketball, please leave a comment. How do they track and make it official for those games?
It's my guess is it.
Because for our sport, it sucks. You now have to train this 18-year-old and younger kid to do this piece of paper. Imagine coaching a 12s team.
yeah, sometimes 12.
And that sheet is the same from 12s to 18s. Like,
I mean, I get it. You're
gotta
tracking
dumb it down somehow.
You're tracking rotations. Who's, so if you know the score sheet well enough, you can tell what's happening,
like where the error is.
What's happening in a match.
The libero tracker. So stupid.
All right, Will, what is the worst card you've ever gotten?
Worst card is in like my
Sure.
behavior or just like
Sure.
I mean I think I've gotten a handful of reds. I don't think the card I got in Dallas was a red.
Did you deserve the reds?
Okay, so as a player I got a red.
I'd like to hear this one.
This was a big time. This was funny. This was my senior year. Basha High School.
Dobson versus Basha.
Dobson versus Basha.
Wow, what a match.
I think we won.
No way.
I think we fact check that. I think we won.
Oh, jeez.
We
What
won
year
in
was
5. We won in 5.
What year?
So this would have been 2012.
We don't have data that goes back that far.
Max Preps it. It's back there. I promise.
I don't think 12 goes that far.
It does.
I think
Max Preps era started in like 08 or 09.
All right, he's on
Anyways, I get pulled because my coach was mad that I was yelling at my setter because my setter thought he was front row when in fact he was back row. So we had 4 blockers up at one point in time. Classic Dobson volleyball story here, right? So I'm yelling at him, and he's like, "You don't yell at him." And I'm like, "Dude, he's back row." So then I get pulled, and I lose it. I'm like, I should not have been pulled for this. I go out into the I saw red. I saw red. I was so pissed.
Before the card, you saw red?
No, after the card.
After the card?
No. The card was given.
I still don't know why you got a card.
You're gonna hear it.
Okay.
I'm subbing out. I kind of give him a little bit, and then I'm running out, and I kick a trash can on the way out into the lobby of Basha. Guess who my up ref is?
Brian Steiner.
No, James Gibson.
Oh no!
Yeah, and he gives me a red
for kicking the trash can.
Yeah. Did I deserve it? I don't think so. But that's the only red I have.
Did you ever get put back in the game?
Yep.
I would have put you on the bus.
Yeah, I got put back in because the assistant coaches were like, his name is Travis. Travis, you're wrong. Like,
yeah, but you can't. You storm out of the gym.
Oh, I was so pissed.
I understand that, but you can't.
It was a 5-setter, right, Chris?
I'm still searching it.
All right, that's fine.
He's got to dig for that one, dude.
I don't think I've ever gotten a red as a head because the only time that I saw red was Dallas, Garrick's 15's year, against that kid who's now at Hawaii.
I don't even remember this.
Yes, you do. I said, cut that crap out.
When he was but you used different words.
Cut that.
In 2012?
He was talking trash to Matt Luoma.
Yeah. Oh, like too much.
Too much.
Like, dude, you're up 10. Like, you're up 10 in the first set. Chill out.
2012. What do you got, Chris?
So, on March 29th, Dobson at Basha defeated Basha. Dobson defeated Basha 3-1.
Oh, and 4,
dude!
Wow.
And I think the one set we lost was the set I got
when you gave up the red card.
Because we were 7 deep. Like, you can imagine. Yeah. So the kid that got put in was situation. Yeah.
The first experience I ever had with a red card. First time ever. So this is, I'm a pretty new coach.
07 was your first year, correct? Or was it 06?
07 was my first state championship. 04 was my first year.
Okay.
So I came from the basketball world. If you've listened to Pin to Pin, you know from way back in the day that when we first started this thing, we were sitting on a couch. Remember the couch?
Sitting on a couch, and you were right there.
Yeah. So I'm gone now. I don't know. We took my picture down. So I came from a basketball world. So the yellow card for me early on had this connotation of a technical foul.
Yeah.
You know, even though you're not giving up 2 free throws in the ball, which is crazy to think about in basketball. That's a very egregious thing, right? So I sort of had this feeling early on that you don't
never get
yellow cards. You don't get cards at all. I still argued or whatever, but I always sort of tried to toe the line. We're the state semifinals, Desert Vista versus Mountain Point. So this is a huge rival game. We're down in Tucson. Back in the day when they used to make us go to different places. We're down in Tucson. This is 2008, so we were the defending state champs. We're back for more in 08. Michael Proctor, my big middle, that was the most dominant player in the state that year, gets a yellow card early in the match. I don't even remember what for, arguing. And then, like set 3 or 4, we lost in 4, so it was like set 3 or 4. He goes up and just spatches one out of bounds. It's a horrible play, right? And one that uncharacteristic, and he's mad at himself. So he grabs the net and he yanks on the net, and the ref pulls out a red card. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, this match is over.
Because you thought...
I thought he was going to get ejected.
Okay.
Yeah, red card. And stupid me, I didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
So I lose my mind. And I go up to the ref, I'm like, you're going to really blow this match on a kid who's frustrated at himself? And the guy's like, it's okay. It's just a red card. I can't give him another yellow. We're just going to warn him. It'll be fine. I was like, okay, thanks. That's my first experience with a red card.
Okay.
After that...
4 years. It took you 4 years to see a red. That's crazy.
Well, because I thought I was going to get ejected.
Well, no, just to see it.
Yeah.
Like, you never coached against a red?
No, coaches were nice back then. I don't know. I never experienced it.
Everything was happening.
And then it was
like 10 total teams.
It's sort of all downhill after that. Once I realized you could get a red and not get ejected, oh, well, we're going to get a few of those.
Yeah. Well, and you're coming from the sport of basketball,
Right.
where the coaches are dripping sweat halfway through the game.
Well, you just don't want to get ejected. I never wanted to be ejected, and I never have been ejected from a volleyball game.
Andrew Yamashiro has, as an assistant for Mountain Point.
Sam Mathers got ejected from a Perry varsity match one time.
Was it on the west side?
It was at Brophy High School.
Okay.
It was a West Side referee. Those West Side ref.
A ref with the last name King?
As a matter of fact,
It was.
Yeah. He must.
That's who Yamashiro got ejected.
He must run. He must love running referees. I mean, running assistant coaches.
God, man.
That's wild. The other bad red I got, the worst red I ever got,
Was I with you?
was in this.
Nope, it was not with you.
When I chucked the notebook.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We were in Denver. Okay.
Yeah, that's not the worst.
Okay, that's not the worst.
That's the first day of a qualifier. That lady blew that call really bad in a tough
Bump it, lady. She was actually in Dallas. I said hi to her.
in a really tough, high leverage, high intensity, like Chris was talking about, moment. And I almost hit McCall on the bench. You probably had to dive out of the way.
I think I was standing.
It was a view. It was just a little. Like,
I don't even know what you were tracking. Just your feelings.
Serve and serve receive. Okay. It was a great tracker.
It was a great track.
Anyways, the worst one was in the state finals in 2021. When
that's when the McBurney conversation,
they were calling
right?
Tyler McBurney on the under. Stupid call, guys. The center line in volleyball needs to be revamped. Anybody disagree?
How do we revamp it?
The under rule. Well, high school and club are different.
Okay, high school and club are totally different. That's
Right.
correct. I'm just agreeing with you with the facts.
Club, you go under. Club, you go under. I mean, high school, you go under at all.
It's done.
It's done. Play's over. So McBurney was standing. He would land. He'd block and land, and then he would go to transition, and his foot would turn, and it would clear the line. At least that's what the referee was saying, that he could see really clearly, according to him, 30 feet away. So I argued that. Like, this is ridiculous, dude. That's a dumb rule. You're blowing this state championship game because of that. And then I was done with him, so I'm talking to Tyler, and this guy comes barreling across the court, wanting to continue this conversation with me. And I turned to him and I said, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm trying to talk to my player.
That was the fifth set, wasn't it?
Pulled out a red. No, that was the second set.
Oh, that was the second set.
We got another red. Our bench got a red.
Who got the red?
Caden Andreasen, one of the nicest young men on the planet.
Good for him.
Because he was given the choke sign to the other players.
Oh, wow.
So he got a red card too. We overcame two. That was in set 5. We overcame 2 red cards in that match.
And did
in order to win it.
Sandra get a single one?
Oh, not even close.
Not even close?
No. Well, they didn't.
Was it Mr. King again?
No,
it wasn't Mr. King.
Him.
All right, because Mr. King did give Ryan Whitmire a yellow.
I don't know. I mean, you're
no
pulling
at Mesquite. He was on the bench. Like, he didn't even play.
You're pulling out just some random moments, dude.
Pretty sure.
Random moments. It's funny how those referee moments sort of stick with you, Chris. You probably have no idea what your worst is because you get them all the time.
He hasn't got a bad one with
I have not got a bad one yet this season.
Yep.
Because that's my kind of New Year's resolution is to not get carded, but I got carded, but I didn't know. I didn't know I got carded.
He did get carded in Dallas. So it was just a yellow, though.
You're turning over a new leaf.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Noah's little card incident in California in January?
I wasn't there.
This was probably the worst cards situation I've ever seen.
I'm listening.
He said...
I don't remember the... Yeah, I know we talked about it as a staff. I don't remember. It was set 2. We lost set 1. And it was late. We were down like 23-21. And horrible call. I don't remember the call. See, this crazy thing is, for most of the time, I don't even remember the call. And, if it's such a big deal, you'd think you'd remember the call. Bad call. And I agreed. Like, I try to be fairly, objective when it comes to some of those calls late in the game. This one was bad. And they gave us a red card, which at the time I was like, wow. Like, a red card was tough. Because he argued, but then he went right to a red. So there was a point. So it was 23-21. They sided out to make 23-21. Then it was 24-21. Noah keeps arguing. Oh, that's right. Gets
And she says to him, the referee, and this is another thing about referees. I wish they would calm down a little bit with their communication. She yells at him across. We're not allowed to yell at them, right? But she yells back across the court, says, "Do you want me to kick you out?" And Noah's response was,
Cotterman, so yeah.
Noah's response was, "Sounds like you've already made up your mind."
Boom.
Another red. You're gone. Match is over because they got their last 3 points were a bad ref call and two reds, and the boys we all just stood there like, all right, we're gonna move on to the next match. It was crazy.
And then Noah comes over to my court. I didn't know what was going on. He was actually really calm and collected. Looking back on, I'm blown away about this. He's just sitting on the bench. He's just coaching. Just coaching. I learned that he was there because he had to be there because he couldn't coach in the next match.
So he had to miss. He had to miss the whole first set of the next match because he had been ejected.
The whole time he's over on our bench, didn't tell us anything that happened. Like nothing's wrong. He just comes over. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
It's super funny.
Yeah. Good old
The Art of Refereeing. I think we should write a book, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put yourself on the stand and make calls in high leverage situations, then I think you should be able to take the backlash, whatever it is.
Sure.
You know, basketball refs, they get chewed up all the time.
They go nose to nose.
That's the hardest sport to referee.
You think?
I think so.
It's so fast.
It happens so fast.
It's so fast.
And there's only 3 of them watching all the action. You know, football, you got one, guy watching just the offensive line or whatever, so it's a little easier, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's an interesting topic to say the least.
I'm trying to think if we missed anything. I don't think we did.
We covered a lot on refereeing. I know people are probably really talking about referees for 40 minutes.
Well, I think it makes sense just because of the rule change in women's volleyball.
Yeah, we're excited about that, and a lot of people are, and so we wanted to kind of touch base on some of that stuff.
We were losing it.
You know what else? Here's another thing.
Ooh.
While we're at it.
Why
is the antenna out if you put it on the line? But the line is
we were talking about this in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we had a question, or we asked the ref a question about where the antenna should be placed, because technically the line is in.
Line's in. So if the antenna is placed on the line.
Right, but there's the type of antennas we had in Fort Lauderdale was a strap.
The strip.
With the Velcro. Yeah. So we were like, well, if it hits the strap, it's out. But if you place the strap over the line, it should be in.
Yep.
So what did they say?
So, well, technically, that the strap should be outside of the line, and then the antenna should line up just outside.
Just on the edge of the line.
Edge of the line.
That makes sense. And those strap ones, the antenna is offset to one side. So that makes
if you put it on the correct side.
It has so that makes sense.
And then if you have a twister,
it has to
we asked her which side of the net should it be on. What do you think?
Which side of the net?
Correct.
Should they be on the same side
as the
person playing the volleyball? I have no idea.
The line judge. It should be on the same side as the L1, L2 respectively. So then you can see if ball hits it. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's on the outside,
which we side. Never do. I've never seen a referee move switch the side of.
We were getting pretty technical with this person.
So technical.
Yeah.
We were bored.
It was 7:30 in the morning, and we were just waiting.
No, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
But
if you have a twister, and ball hits it, I feel like it should still be a half inch further than where it is.
Because your ball could still
correct. Yeah,
hit
it
the
sucks. Line. But I mean, that's one of those things. I wish you could hit outside the standard, like in
pickleball.
Like in pickleball, that'd be so cool.
There's no
just like a power play.
Well, tennis, there's no antenna. You can, as long as it hits in the court.
In the court.
That'd be wild, though. You'd be set out there. People are standing way outside, just ripping balls.
The game would change. Probably not for the good.
The
game would drastically change.
All right. Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us on this volleyball journey that we're on, episode 18. What the heck, ref?
Is that what we're going to call it?
Sure, why not?
Let's call it that. But you know what? I did want to point out that I know we had stories about poor officiating and red card, yellow card stories. There are a lot of good refs out there.
Tons
We
of
had
them.
really good refs in Dallas.
Right.
We have
Just out there in general.
Correct.
We do have, when they show up to our high school gym, it's really nice and refreshing to see those faces,
Sure. Well, and Chris made, the quote of the day, we didn't do one, but the quote of the day is the referees make the match official.
Yep.
And so we do appreciate them and their efforts and showing up and doing what they can with the rules. And, I'm sure that if there were 3 referees doing a podcast somewhere, they'd be talking about the idiot coaches that they had to card, right? We go to dinner and talk about our cards. They go to dinner like,
guy with really big beard.
Dude, total moron. Let me tell you about the card I gave this idiot, right? I guarantee
It goes both
that
ways,
100%.
Yep.
So anyway, it's we're excited to continue our show journey with Chris behind the screen now. I'm excited for this. The next few weeks here, we'll get some more episodes out to you. Hopefully, we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Drop some feedback. Drop some topic ideas. We love that kind of stuff.
Follow us on social media. We got a YouTube, Instagram. You can catch us anywhere that you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple, all that stuff. So like it, follow it, share it, and then come up with money so we can do this full time instead of just as a hobby.
Another full-time gig.
Yeah, we don't have enough of those. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.